Hello, hello, hello. Today is Monday. Oh, what an eventful Monday it is. It's January 20th, 2025, and it's Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day. How did you celebrate and honor Martin Luther King Jr. today? I know for me, it's not just Martin Luther King Jr., but it's personal. It's my uncle's friend, Fred Shuttlesworth, my uncle. It is his friend, and we often go out of our way to remember Martin Luther King Jr. and his messages of peace and unity, inclusivity, meaning everyone. Remember that we are all Americans and we have an American dream, and that dream is that we are united in all of our diverse ways, and we respect one another's diversity. We respect one another's free will and freedom, and we collaborate together to create and build and advance the America, the United States. Um, so that's just, my take on that's my icebreaker. I'm a little late because I have a pounding headache, and I was watching Tony Briscoe and Gary's show yet again, and I got a little caught up, and I didn't get myself together fast enough. So I'm a little late today, but this is an interactive show, the Adroit Living session of the Erudition Network, where here I like to talk about mental health and all the holistic factors that make our mental health either one, good, or two, we need to work on it. We need some improvement. And if you ask me, we all teeter between those. So it's always a good idea to self-examine and check on yourself. You don't need people always to check on you. Check on yourself. Sometimes people will say, oh, you seem down, and you like, oh, that's news to me. And then you start to examine yourself, and you're like, man, yeah, I am acting a little bit abnormal. What is it? And it's like a lot of times we're seeing it's the atmosphere, it's the environment, it is the era that we're in even. So it can make us all feel some type of way, like melancholy, or it can make us feel a bit emotional, of an emotional roller coaster where we're up and down, drastic ups and drastic downs. And some people might like to define that as depression, but you have to be really sensitive about putting labels like that on people, because it's not necessarily depression, even though that's a symptom of it. It's the fact that the era we're living in, our lived experiences is causing us drastic ups and drastic downs. And it's not necessarily to say that we're having some chemical imbalance, more so than we are reacting in every way to everything that's happening around us, or even to us, or even the things we're just hearing about, and we're like, oh my God, really? Are you serious? So in this interactive show, I like to see what the comments say. So please make comments, ask questions, come on, and leave a statement, speak your mind, speak your piece. But today's show, I want to talk about remembering who you are. You have to remember who you are. It's like, how many times are you going to say the same thing? How many times are you going to say, this is the thing. There's nothing new under the sun. And I know I've said that a lot of times, but it's not about how many times you say it. And it's not about how many times you say it to the people you say it to. It is, when will they be receptive to hearing, receptive to taking heed to wise counsel that you have to repeat and repeat and repeat. So let's remember who we are. You have to remember there's one body, but there's many parts to that body. We can't always say, oh, hi, Eddie, I appreciate you being here. Please feel free to comment and give feedback on whatever you're going to do in them comments. But we often forget that we are all one body. We are the human body, and we have many parts to that body. Because I mean, even if you look at your own body, there's many different parts of your own body. There's parts to everyone's body, which have more pigmentation than the other parts. There's parts of everyone's body that's stronger than the other parts. So you you read you need the whole body to work together as one, um, despite each part being different. So you don't want your hands doing two different things. There's a diagnosis for that. I'm just saying. We oftentimes forget that we need different things doing different things at the same time, simultaneously, to work and function the way we really want and desire, so we can feel fulfilled. For example, the inside of your ear is darker than the outside of your ear, and it's significant. It's a significant part of your ear. The inside of your nose has more pigmentation than any other part of your nose, and it's the most significant functioning part of your nose and vital to the whole body. Can you imagine? Oh, I don't like how dark the inside of my nose is, so let me just bleach that. People have tried, and they find that that's not going to be effective for your whole body. Sometimes you just got to roll with it. For example, your knuckles have more pigmentation than other parts of your hands and toes, but those joints are vital to the whole body functioning. Have you ever had aches and pains in your ligaments, in your knuckles, in your joints? Man, I heard a lot about turning 50, and I have a couple of years to turn 50, and I'm like, man, whew, I hope I did my joints well and all that cartilage so that my body can function. Because people get them knee pains. I stand up sometime, my knees give me a whole standing ovation, like clap, 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 clap. I mean, crackle, crackle, pop. I like to do, a lot of physical activities, ride my bike, roller skate, do things like that. And it's like, when you like to do stuff like that, you're gonna hear some snap, crackle, and popping often. But as you continue to get older. But anyway, your knees have more pigmentation than your leg, no matter how much you wash and lotion them. But a lot of people are very protective of their knees because they understand how vital to the whole body the knees are. And as we continue to get older, we're like, man, I got to protect my knees, because maybe all that snap, crackling, popping is trying to tell me something so that I could pay more attention. Maybe the pigmentation in it was trying to tell you, hey, this is a spot that you should pay a lot more attention to and be sensitive and aware of this area. I don't know. But sometimes we look at these differences and we overlook what could this mean? Is there a significance to this? You ever heard the saying, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice? Well, your private areas have the most pigmentation than any other parts of your entire body. And they are the most sweetest parts of the entire body. Some people bleach their private parts, but facts are stubborn. And the fact is, we need to love all of our parts because they are many parts of the same body and significant to the functioning of the whole body, no matter what it looks like, where it is, or what it does. It's all the same body. I remember when my husband and our household were going on military leave one holiday. Eddie just returned to our apartment after 16 hours on the base. It was dark and it was cold and it was snowy. And we were trying to rush and get out of here. I was just going to go ahead and take the drive because Eddie just got off watch. So I knew he wasn't going to be able to do it. Plus, he just packed the car and loaded everything in, trying to get us home. And it was like Um, it was like we were going to take leave for 30 days and go back to Chicago. We were stationed in like Virginia, and it was like a really difficult drive home. And we were driving in the snow, and somehow we ended up, I think we were stationed in Virginia, but I think we were stationed in Colorado. And we were driving, and somehow we ended up, everybody slipping and sliding. Everybody slipping and sliding. And that was around that time where it was really popular for people to say, "Oh, Jesus, take the wheel." And people, it didn't matter what faith you were in, everybody was saying it. It was a trend, it was going viral. So nobody really thought about, the connotations of this divisions that it really implied and signified. It was just, really trending. Jesus, take the wheel. And literally, as I'm driving, it's like, oh my God, take the wheel. Because I felt I didn't have any control. I could feel when the car completely disengaged from the manual controllers, and I didn't have any control over any of it. The problem with that was when we lose control of things, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what to do. So we ended up, and we were blessed. There was a lot of other cars skidding and everything, but even though we ended up in a ditch, we were blessed because it was dark. There was really no cars out there. Traffic was very seldom and far in between. But somebody pulled up in the F-150, and he didn't look like us, and we didn't look like him, but he didn't care. He pulled us out of that ditch, and I promise you, it was a blessing. It was a blessing that he didn't look at us like, oh, we are, different. We're Americans, and we're in need, and you're here. You're available. And he came before anybody. We have USAA insurance. We could have called USAA, but we was in shock and in awe, and we were thanking God that we didn't die in that ditch. We didn't roll over and succumb to the injuries. And when this man pulled us out of the ditch, all I can do now, Eddie already got out of the car, and he was already thanking the man and shaking his hand and helping him to hitch the vehicle and unhitch the vehicle. And all I could do was get out of the vehicle. I was driving, so I got out of the driver's seat, and all I could do was go hug this man and tell him, God bless you. You have to remember who you are. And it doesn't take for us to be in dire straits. It doesn't take for us to be in such great need that we're like, oh man, we're Americans. We're all human beings. We're all a human body. Give thanks and be appreciative. Remember that that's who we are. We're not our differences. We're not the people, oh, you look like me, you don't look like me, you walk like me, you talk like me, you think like me. It's not about that. And it's never been about that. And we need to remember that, because as one body, we all function, or we are dysfunctional, and we don't need dysfunction. I'm just saying, we didn't have any money that we could have gave that man because we don't carry cash. And he didn't look like the people who he helped. But in that moment, we function as one body, and the acts were significant for more than the reason on the surface. You must remember who you are. You are many parts to one body. So it's maddening trying to think of everyone in any other way. And that's a part of what's really disrupting Americans' mental health, which is why it's impossible to separate people, because your mental health is like, no, that there's no separation. There's no real divisions. There's no real justification for dividing and separating. It's impossible to create a working sound logic which justifies causing anybody and of people harm, and still aid understanding that the same or worse harm will not include those causing or even permitting or even creating the harm. Despite people's ability to formally convey they understand this, they're letting it be known, even if they perish trying to convey they understand. Some people leave a manifesto just in case their voice is stifled in any way. Because the truth is, people are fed up with lopsided logic and lies of justifying why injustices happen, only to also be later forced to live through similar or worse injustices. And that's one of the major key factors as to why mental health is on such a great decline, because they lie to you and tell you, no, you look like me. You're not going to suffer or endure any of these consequences that we somehow created some logic to why those people are targeted, even though they look like you, even though they kind of act like you and they have the same mentality as you. They went to school with you. They go to your place of worship. They live in your neighborhood. Yeah, even still, they work at your same job, but still, there's a reason why they aren't you, and you won't succumb or have to endure these same problems. And then those same people you lied to, they're the ones that's like, wait a minute, you're targeting me. You're not targeting them. And when they wake up, they write a manifesto. But I'm just saying, you can only lie to people for so long before they show you how they really feel. So help everyone realize up front, we are many parts of the same body, and we should do everything to show just appreciation. It may look like you're in control, but then a national disaster happens. Then you skid off the road and a slippery, dark situation becomes your reality. And you can't call the people you know and the people you pay to come help you, or everything you read, learn, or know, and all the money you have, you still don't have joy. What about that? It's a lot of people that's like, well, I did all of this, I read this, I did this, and I still don't have joy. I'm only catering and placating to the people who look like, but I still don't have joy. Something's not right. Plus, you're not having as much fun as the people that you sitting there comparing yourself to, and sometimes oppressing and justifying that you've oppressed. Status people have at their cookouts, you're not having the same experience, and you want to have that same experience. You're trying to create it, but it's just not working out. You're not as happy as people you oppress, and at every turn. And it's like, why? You don't understand why that is. Because you're busy hating, and that hate has a deeper, lingering woe than any other moment of joy, peace, pleasure, or happiness. But no one told you that directly before you heard it now, right here. A lot of people don't know why they have this mental stress and this mental problem that's ongoing. And it seems to be, why is everybody always saying it's a mental thing? Why is everybody always saying this thing? Because it is causing such a disruption to your mental health that's the only thing anybody can title it or label or even attribute it to. Because it's like, what else can you say? You can't isolate it as being one thing, because it's not. It's a whole lot of things, and you're like, man, my mind, I just can't take it. I can't ingest it mentally, and because I can't ingest it mentally, this is all I understand of it. So I'm going to act on this, and I'm going to do this. And sometimes your brain isn't keeping you conscious to understand it. What you doing and the connections you making, it's not the reality that is looked upon in a favorable way in society. And you may find yourself on the wrong end of some consequences that you may not have fully been cognitive of. You may not fully have been aware that that happened. Have you ever cursed somebody out by accident and was like, oh my God, I didn't even mean this? say that? You ever like accidentally hit somebody because you were so frustrated and they were right there and they were antagonizing you and pushing you and egging you on, and you're like, before you even realize it, you hit them because you're trying to end whatever the problem is, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't mean to hit you. Have you ever snapped on a child and was like, man, I did not mean to say that to you, little one. I'm so sorry. Have you ever, had misplaced aggression in any form? And then you're like later had to apologize because that was so much out of your character. You're like, man, was that me? I was seeing myself, but it was like I was outside of myself because I didn't really acknowledge that this is happening. I'm overwhelmed. I'm being pushed beyond my limits. And even though a lot of people say via their faith that God won't put more on you than you can bear, a lot of times we're not acknowledging that that ain't God. We putting it on ourselves. We're taking on too much. We're trying to please everybody all the time, and that just doesn't work out. We have multiple cliques. I know I have multiple cliques because I like to do different things. I like to go roller skating. I like to play billiards, and I like to ride my bike, and I like to do different things. And then I like to play video games. I like to do various things that require me to have different groups of friends because everybody don't like all the different things I like, and I can't force anybody to like it. So I have different cliques, and that keeps my mental health balanced. And it's like when you going against it and saying, well, you can't hang with those people because those people don't have all of your likes. Well, these people over here, they have majority of your likes, so you have to just stick with them. And that's going against your mental health because that balance is now lopsided. And you're like, I'm not stable. I can't do it this way. I can't go along with what you want me to do. So you have to remember there's many parts to your different body. And even though you can't recreate the same body, you still appreciate it. And you don't shun it to the side because, oh, it's a little different. Oh, it's a little darker or stronger or weaker, or it doesn't function the way I can control it all the time. It's not about that. You see, we are many parts to the same body. Even though we have different cliques of friends, they're still a part of us. We have different groups of friends, and it's like, man, they a lot of my friends are males. I have a lot of male friends. They don't look like me, but they think like me. They act like me. They play like me. They like the things I like. They doing the things I like to do. And then I have some friends that are females, but it's limited to what we will do because there's certain things we just don't like and certain things we just don't click. So I limit my time with them more so than I do my male friends because I gravitate more to that, but I don't exclude my female friends. So you see that balance, even though it's like, oh, I feel like I should probably be more over there with the girls than with the guys. I don't care what other people think. I can't justify my sanity and trying to please everybody because their perception of what I'm doing or not doing or whatever. I can't do that because I will be off kilter. I will lose balance. I won't be happy. I won't enjoy myself. I will lose or snap. I would just lose it, and I wouldn't even be conscious as to why. What is wrong with me? Well, you trying to put yourself in a box you don't belong in. You have to just appreciate the differences, that you are different parts of the same body. And it in our life, in our lived experience, we're seeing that in different ways, repeated and repeated and repeated. So just like I have different cliques that I enjoy in order to make my myself whole, it's the same thing with different people being the same human body, but different parts of the human body, different colors, different strengths, different techniques, different abilities, different creativity, different talents. You long to be happy as long as you can control it, but sometimes you can't control it. Sometimes you got to go with the flow. And sometimes the flow looks different than what you may have tried to contrive everything to be in your little, neat little boxes. It doesn't fit in a box. And a lot of people don't understand why they can't be happy and what's wrong with their mental health when they're trying to put themselves in that box. They didn't understand that you cannot achieve the level of happiness and joy that you need to achieve, that you long to achieve, because you are oppressing other people who are of your same body. And mentally, you're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. When you're all alone, you don't do it in front of everybody, but when you all alone, you like, man, I don't know why I did that. It's not sitting really well with me. But I can't tell nobody. Who can I talk to? I can't talk to them because if I tell them that, then they won't let me belong. They'll say I don't belong. They'll call me a traitor. Yeah, it is. But at the same time, we feel compelled. We feel obligated. We feel obligated to side with those people because, well, we justify it so much in so many ways. We justify it even though we can't really fully justify it. We say, well, we'll acquiesce and go with it. And before you know it, your mental health is in grave jeopardy. And you didn't even realize it until somebody's pointing it out to you, but they can't reach you. They can't reach you because you're like, well, you keep justifying it. Keep justifying it. But you cannot separate justifying oppression by means of division because you innately understand there's no logic in that, which doesn't also include you suffering too. And that's why we're having this grave mental health crises. And it's like, why? Why do we come to that understanding? How do we come to that understanding? Because that's that thing where you can't sleep. That's that thing where you like, man, I like this person. They pretty cool. And I want to hang out. But it's that thing that we do when we separate and divide and we try to make it seem like they different from us. And it's like, deep down, you are one body. And that's innate in us all. That understanding is innate in us all. That's a part of our formal logic from when the formulation of our brain first began. For us to understand we all connected. You ever seen the movie Avatar where it was like, oh, we're all connected, and they show different ways to help people understand that, but it was done in an artistic manner. It's showing that we all are connected. We're one body. People test you to see if you'll say something ignorant, which signals to them that you'll move against your own best interest. But that only justifies people not caring about you when you fall or are taken down. It's like they test you to see, are you still woke or sleep, or are you still aware or unaware? Are you still on our side? Are you still going to be under our full control and do the things we want you to do, even though it goes against your best interest? And they'll ask you something stupid. You'll be in an interview and they'll say something. Now, I wrote this days ago, long before those interviews took place. But I don't know if you've seen it, but there were some people who were in the interview in political positions, and they were asking them questions, real serious political questions. And then suddenly the whole thing switched. And they start asking questions about push-ups. How many push-ups can you do? And it's that call and response, because instead of getting and staying on the topic, which was a serious, mature topic, we go right into talking about something that is totally irrelevant and out of place. And then we can see, when I say there's nothing new under the sun, we can see how this is the whole building up the cabinet of Caesar, for example. Caesar's cabinet. When they built up his cabinet, Caesar didn't know any better. And it was like, Caesar, look out, because your own people who are encouraging you to oppress people, they're going to take you out, and no one will care, because it's the setup. It's a part of the setup. And it's like, you're not seeing it because you didn't read that. You didn't know about that. But there's podcasts, simple podcasts like this one, who is trying to tell you, hey, you can do something different. You can do better. You can be better than what anybody right now is urging you and encouraging you that's in your circle. You can be better than that. You can be better than what they're telling you and what they expect for you to be. And in realizing we're all connected, we're all the same body. And it's them very people that everyone who looks like you is seeking to continue to oppress, because they didn't want to acknowledge the wrongs that they did. They want to perpetuate them and say, and that's the only method in which they acknowledge that there was any wrongdoing or injustices at all, by sending this message on Martin Luther King Jr.'s day that, hey, we don't care. It's a total disregard and a total dishonoring of the sacrifices of our ancestors. Not just Martin Luther King Jr., because Martin Luther King Jr. was one part of a whole. He was not just Martin Luther King Jr. He was a part of a bunch of different people, okay, from diverse communities, okay, who may not have necessarily looked like him, but they all came together because they were one body, different parts of the same body with the same message. Let's be safe. Let's be mature about these decisions. Let's make wise decisions. Let's remember, we got to live next to these people. We got to depend on these people. These people are farming for us. These people are picking our linens, and they're cleaning these places. And did I say they're cooking our food? We don't want them cooking particular type of pies for us, and then we sitting there eating, talking about it tastes good. But I promise you, if you pray, God gonna turn it off for your good, regardless of what they feeding you and putting in there. That's how I know, because I read about it and I lived the experience, and I saw how God turns things for the good of those who love him and are called to according to his purpose, and staying in his will and in his way, and encouraging people to remember who you are. Remember who you are. It's simple as that. Some people say they've heard people claim we're living in the last days, but we're still here. So they can't believe it. They believe they have more time to do whatever they want to do, and they'll get it right towards the end. But what if this is the end? And that's why you're being informed. These are the end times, my friend, my brother, my sister, cousin, family, body. It's the end. Because while people are still thinking that they have more time, it's like, meanwhile, those same people say things like, oh, this kind of devastation has never happened in my neighborhood or where I am. Have you ever heard of events in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s? Martin Luther King Jr. wasn't that long ago. My auntie, Fred Shuttlesworth, on the Shuttlesworth side, she's going to be 90 this year. It was when she was young. It was when she was a young girl. This is when these things were happening. So it's not like it's untold. So when you say things and you putting that call and response out there by saying things like, oh, this never happens here. It's like, what? Have you ever heard of those events? We have a whole Black History Month coming up every year since Martin Luther King Jr. And we know about these things. We've heard of these things. And it's like, exactly. The devastation in America and overseas is nothing new. It's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. But when you sit there and you say, oh, this has never happened before, it's like, wait a minute. Since you brand new, why don't we take advantage of that? That's the signal you're sending to the people who want to continue to oppress and take advantage of people. We have history books which track these facts, but some people use their leadership to revise the information in those books, to alter or edit out those out such facts. But those facts are stubborn because everything keeps repeating itself, because there's nothing new under the sun. It's almost like, how many times you gonna repeat something, and it's like, well, I'm trying to make sure this person gets it. I'm trying to make sure that the people who don't get that formal education, they at least get this. Yeah, it's a revision. And it's like, it's not covering the facts. It's not altering the facts. It's not going to make the facts any less factual. But now everything seems to be happening faster. Actions which once had consequences over a long period of time, it now has far faster consequences. Have you noticed that? And that's really messing people's mental health up, because they're like, man, I thought I had more time. Man, I thought this would be cool. I thought this would be a good idea. I thought that I'd be able to bask in this just a little bit longer and enjoy it. Everything's happening far faster because it's repeating itself and repeating itself. For example, have you ever told someone something so many times that you refuse to give a long time re-explaining it? Have you ever repeated something so many times that even when a new person arrives and asks about it, you're so fed up, you skip right to the end? That's where we are in current events. That's why it feels like we're speeding up. Yeah, discern the time using current events. You can. It's possible. And you can see, even if you didn't know it formally, nobody educated you formally, you can see this is the end. Nobody has time to keep telling you. Nobody has time to keep, well, let's start from the beginning. In the book of Genesis, we don't have time. We don't have time. We done skipped right to the book of Revelation. It's at the end, my friend. Family, one body. We're at the end. And it's like, if you didn't get it yet, you got one more chance with every breath you take. It gives the feeling like, I don't have time for this mess, because you don't. Let me hurry up because I'm so over it. Yeah, that is the feeling we have. I need to hurry up because I am totally over this. I'm not going to keep doing this. And yep, that is the fed up and we're not going back type of trend going on right now in this era. Yet some people are testing that trend and trying to remain stuck and trying to keep other people stuck. Have you ever heard fat meat is greasy? I can show you better than I can tell you. You got to bump your head against a brick wall to believe the wall is hard. You got to get burned by the fire to know the fire is hot. Well, there's many sayings which all lead to understanding. Just because you don't believe facts won't make it less factual. And yes, the facts apply to everyone, whether they know the facts or don't know the facts, whether they accept the facts or don't accept the facts, whether they believe the facts or don't believe the facts, whether they trust the facts or don't trust the facts. Want to hear it or heed it or not, it is the fact. And there's nothing no one can do about the fact. It's almost like we're out of time for feigning confused, lost, misunderstood, or misunderstanding something, or any other excuse for ignoring, obeying what is known to be logically correct, like following our first mind, because it's part of our innate formal logic, despite having read and fully understood what history teaches its students, books are just tools to reinforce formal logic. Information doesn't end or begin with formal education, and it's especially not exclusive to elite formal teaching or training. So you don't have the excuse of, well, I didn't go to school. What? Well, I didn't get my education like you did. What? Well, I didn't get all that book learning like you did. What? I know everybody tried to make it seem like it was really significant, where they pinpointed out the politics, how, these are the educated people and they voted for Kamala, and these are the uneducated people and they voted for Trump, and Trump won. And it's like, why you say that? Why you're really pushing people to the edge? I'm just saying, you are smart. As you grow older and develop and mature, you make brick and mortar schooling look good by giving them credit for your innate ability to learn, advance, and positively contribute to society. Think about that for just a moment. And I promise you, I tried to explain some of it in my book, Generational Wealth, Information Asymmetry, and Your Success. Look for it on Amazon. Go to lulu.com and ask for it where books are sold. I tried to help you understand that you are innately smart. And the schools, the brick and mortar schools, they did not exist before people expressed and showed they are really intelligent. They're very smart. What happened was those schools, that was like, let's seek out those people that stand out as anomalies and are smarter than those around them. And let's give them a scholarship to go to this school, because we want this school to be prestigious. We want this school to be known for having elite thinkers, elite and innovative creators, and people who are going to really significantly advance society. You made those brick and mortar schools what they are today. And how did you do? They didn't make you. You are already smart. And it's not like the movies say you smart, you pretty, and no, it's facts. You are smart already. It is innate in you. And the more you mature and get older, you are advancing that knowledge. Or maybe slowly or fast or whatever. But let me ask you this. Do you believe if you attended a school less than the absolute best, most prestigious brick and mortar school, that you would uh, feel like you're greater? The resources that you had were required to advance, the resources that you had in those elite schools and institutions. Do you feel like you can't do it without it? I'm telling you, a lot of people would say they did not need a great elite school to become who they are today. And the historical icons that the people are today, they didn't have the resources. They didn't have these computers and the technology that we have today. And look, they're icons, they're legends. They didn't need that. And you have it at your access, your free will, your ability right here, right now at your fingertips. Do you know historically, geniuses didn't have half the resources we have access to in these modern times, yet they became historical geniuses. So think about this. I don't care if it's just your cell phone, you have a tool that those historical geniuses didn't even have, but they're calling you stupid. So what's your excuse? They're lying. That's the excuse. That's the thing. They're lying. You are smart. You are intelligent. Your mental health is strong. You just need to stop combating logic by trying to justify things that you know also apply to you, when you say, oh, we don't like them because they don't look like us. But you don't look like you either sometimes. I'm just saying. We doing some things trying to justify it, and we know we're not getting away with it. We're not mentally getting away with it. And whether we are aware that our conscious and subconscious is battling the way it is, when you snap and have misplaced aggression, that's you. That's your body telling you, yep, we can't take it anymore. It may happen in little ways, and you hope it happens in little ways that you can quickly self-correct and redirect. But it's those little things that's like building up to something bigger if you don't self-correct, if you don't start to say, look, this is wrong. I can't do this. This isn't right. And then we try to justify, well, what's right? What's wrong? What's ethical? What's unethical? How about the things that disrupt my spirit? The things that cause me to doubt myself, doubt whether I'm a good person, doubt whether I'm actually helping people more than I'm harming people. The things that make me feel like I'm justified if people are happy, if I succumb to some great devastation and can't get up again. How about that? I'm just saying. So you see, you are smart. You were born smart. And I try to tell you that in my book. Just don't let people, schools, or anything lead you to limit your innate ability. And don't let them devalue your ability either. You have something great to contribute. Work towards developing it. We are one body and many parts to the one body, the same body. So we need your contribution to be whole. Our mental health, advancement, and safety depend on it. A lot of times people didn't know, they couldn't quantify what's the value in that. What's the value in me telling you you smart? What's the value in me not devaluing your contribution? What's the value in that? Why would I value you? Why would I respect you? Why would I help build you up instead of tear you down and take the parts and take your broken parts and build myself up, make myself bigger and better? I can get more money if I make you drop out and I buy all your stocks. I can profit greater if I don't give you any credit. Well, what's the value in it outside of that? Well, the value of it is your mental health, your ability to advance, your ability to feel safe. Because this is the problem with it. When we're constantly asking people, well, why should I justify doing the right thing? When there's so much, I can say about doing the wrong thing. I can steal everything from you and I have it all. Okay, you're right. You could. You could even trick us into giving it all to you. Because you could tell us how you need it more. You could tell us a sob story, and that sob story outweigh all the hell we going through. So we'll say, okay, you need it more. Go ahead, you can take it. And you'll watch us in need, in destitute, just desperate need. And we'll still go to the cookout with whatever we have. And we'll party and celebrate and just enjoy ourselves, tell jokes. We'll invite other people who don't have nothing. All of us get together, have nothing because you took it all and you justify why. And we gave it to you. And we justified why we gave it to you because it was like, oh, well, you need it more than I do. You go ahead. This will make you happier than it'll make me. Go ahead. You can have it. I'll take this. I'll have less. And we can justify that all day. It's been done. There's nothing new under the sun. And then when you sitting there on top of all the things that you coveted, you took, you know it wasn't yours, but you took it. You took people's intellectual property. You claimed the rights to things that you had no ownership to. And you thought about it. Did it really make you happy? Did it really bring you joy? Is it giving you peace? Nope, because it wasn't yours. And there's no way you can continue to advance that. It's no way that you can sustain that. And you're going to run out. Those very people that you tricked and the people that gave it to you, whether by trickery or by force or whatever, you need them. You need them very people. And it's like, what do you mean I need them? I would rather do without them. But you can't. And your mental health knows that. You know that. And you feel terrible. Even if you don't say anything, you feel terrible about what you're doing. Because innate in us, we know we are all the same. We are all one human body. And no matter how many times somebody tries to justify telling you and getting you to believe anything, your mental health won't let you. It won't let you. And by the time you come to your full consciousness, your full state of mind, your awareness, you snapping off. You write manifestos and going all in fatalistically. And you don't care if you and whoever else perish in the midst of it. We don't have to get to that point. We don't have to keep going down that hill and rolling down and picking up as many innocent people in that path along with us. We can choose right now today. It's a new year. I'm going to do better. We're going to do better. I don't care who's in charge or what's in charge. We all going to just do the right thing. And we're going to support the person to do what's right. And what's right again? What's ethical again? Well, is this going to improve my mental health? Or is this going to eat away at my mental health and have me looking over my back because I'm eating at somebody else's mental health? The people who look just like you. The people who act, think, go to school with you. Consider your name Caesar. Consider that. Find out what happened to Caesar. It was his own people. The people who looked like him, the people who encouraged and motivated him to do things that were wrong. They was like, well, what's wrong? You the leader. What's wrong? You the one got the decisions. You making the decisions. You're the czar. You're the king. You're the dictator. You're the head. You tell everybody what's right and what's wrong. It's your turn. You have a chance to consider Caesar and how all of his people turned against him. They all took a stab at him and stabbed him to death. And then they turned things to be the right way or better than what he was doing it. While everybody was famous, being confused of, oh, well, what's right? Oh, what's ethical? Oh, we don't know. We're with you, Caesar. And no one cared that Caesar died the way he did. Those people who killed him, they wasn't reprimanded. They were praised. They were praised. So while we glorifying the wrong things, learn the lesson, the whole lesson, because your mental health is urging you to remember who you are. We are all one body, and we can't get away from the rest of our body. Even if we amputate a part of it, dislocate it, you can't, that's still yours. It's still a part of you. It's further away from you, but it's still yours. We need each other. And we don't need to keep running into situations where we got to keep apologizing or wonder if the person, for example, it's like you sitting at the airport, you don't have nobody else in that state. And you sitting there wondering, they gonna pick me up. They got plenty of reason not to. You sitting there and your house is getting ready to burn. And you looking, is anybody gonna help me? Is anybody gonna come and tell me what to do and how to get out of here? And is somebody gonna think that this is not my stuff when I run out the door with all of my goods? Are they gonna try to shoot me or arrest me or some harm come to me as I'm trying to evacuate? Because they don't think that I'm trying to evacuate. They think I'm trying to take advantage and rob somebody who's already evacuated. Because you don't know your neighbors. You don't know the people. You don't understand that this is your body. All of it. And you sitting there wondering, somebody gonna help me? Who's gonna help me? I haven't apologized to anybody. I haven't made reparations for anything that I've done. I've definitely not repented and been sorry enough to turn from those ways. And you have no intentions on it. And that's why there's no reparations for it. But the very ones who look like you, you're sending them signals. And it's not the signal that you thought you were sending. And that's why Caesar fell the way he did, by the hands of the very people who smiled in his face, said, yes, 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 you're doing the right thing, and encouraged him and motivated him to do those things. Told him, yeah, send the people the message. Send them this message. Be a tyrant. Be a dictator. Be unreasonable and illogical. Take back all these promises that were made before you. Take them back. Disrupt everything so they have nothing. And then call it a law. So anybody who doesn't follow the law is justified what happens to them. This is why Caesar fell and he was killed in the most horrific way. Betrayal is a monster. And no one cared. They're happy. They took note. Why did they take note? A lot of people take note so they can learn from it and maybe even use it as a resource later in life. I'm just trying to tell you, if you don't realize and support right away, remembering who you are, the facts are stubborn and there's nothing new under the sun. We are who you thought we are. And we are one human body. We are all the same. We are different parts, but we are the same body. And in this day, Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, where he said he had a dream where we are all finally together and acting like we're together, acting like we realize and we know now we're one body. We're one person. We're different. Even in that one person that I am, I have different cliques. And even though I have different cliques, I'm still one person. Imagine a whole bunch of different people. They all have their own likes and dislikes, but we don't shun them. We accept them and embrace them because it benefits us all. It benefits us all to advance. You have to remember who you are, not try to accentuate the things that divide us and separate us. Then you try to justify it as if that's your mental health is going to allow you. And it's not. It's not going to allow you to get away with that. You are the only one who can change that. And right now, with the breath that you have right now, And it's not just by seeing this show, it's in the atmosphere. We can all feel it. We can all feel it in the atmosphere, and it's urging us, it's compelling us. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. I know everybody can feel it. Do the right thing. Because we are one body, but we're many parts. Remember who you are for your mental health, because mental health is physical wealth. See you next episode. And thank you for all of your comments.
Mental health is physical wealth.